Hello and welcome. My name is Dryson Karsten, and today I'm going to be sharing my workshop and hopefully helping new entrepreneurs shave 13 years off of building their businesses. And I want to do this by sharing my story, my failures, and my shortcomings, and the lessons I learned, the tips and tricks that I used to help grow my new company to be what it is here today. First off, who am I? My name is Dryson Karsten. It is a little different, but I'm a boldly awkward storyteller. I'm a coffee addict, and I'm the co-founder of Hyperfocus Motion, where we turn bold ideas into vibrant visuals that not only spark curiosity, but inspire and connect your business with your customers. That is what we do. The journey I want to share today, we're going to talk a little bit about my first company that I started as a senior in high school, from growing it from a struggling startup to a six-figure income. But in that journey, I want to share why I hit a mental barrier, why I capped myself, and why that company could never grow beyond the six-figure company that it was. And I want to weave all of this through one of the most powerful tools for growing a big business, which is the customer journey. If you're not familiar with the customer journey, there is a lot of different variations out there if you Google it, but the four that I subscribe to are awareness, attraction, action, and advocate. And that is simply moving someone from awareness phase, where I have never heard of you, but now I know that you exist. The attraction phase, just because they've heard of you, doesn't mean they like you or want to follow you. The attraction phase is warming them up, getting them to like you. The action phase is an inspiring point where they like you in some way enough that they're going to interact with your company, either through subscribing on YouTube, signing up for a newsletter, best case scenario, becoming a customer of your business. And then the last phase that a lot of people forget about is the advocate phase, turning past clients or followers into raving fans of your brand. So I want to give a few examples of each phase. First, the awareness phase. Again, this is people just knowing that you exist. So it could be finding you on social media. This could be seeing your content marketing, such as blog posts or articles, podcast, all that fun stuff. It could be networking and events and telling people, hey, here's my business card, this is what I do. The attraction phase is when people want to follow. They start looking out for your stuff. They like the way your branding feels, and they like the emotions that they feel when interacting with your brand. And this could be anything from newsletters, case studies, testimonials, any way that you can communicate and talk to that client, that potential lead, and makes them feel good about what you do and instills confidence in your brand. The action phase is an invitation to interact with your brand. This could be subscribing to you on YouTube. This could be signing up for the newsletter. This could be watching explainer videos or watching a proposal, some sort of way to actually make them convert from just, I know you exist and you're kind of cool, to now I am actively participating and engaging with your company. And then the last phase, which I think a lot of people tend to forget about, is the advocate stage. That is turning a past client or follower into a raving fan of your business. This could look like customer success videos. This could be reviews on your social channels. This could be friends referring you. This could be strategic partnerships that send leads actively your way. Anything where people are actively participating and promoting your company and your brand. Now, to tell my story properly, I need to go way back to 2008. And I'm not going to lie, as the owner of an animation studio today, this is hella painful to look at. But this was my first company, DAC Music Productions. I was a DJ for all kinds of events, and I started as a senior in high school. In order to start this company, I rented some speakers from my cousin, I bought some cheap lights on eBay, and the best advice which I was ever given was I found a mentor who was someone that had achieved what it was that I aspired to do. And finding someone who I could befriend and they'd share information and just help me along my journey is hands down one of the best investments I've ever made in my time, energy, finances, all of it. But this, again, being my first company, I had a little bit of a problem, and that was I had a poor mindset. You see, this is Dryson 2011, and as you can see here, I had a bad mindset. To me, it was all about the equipment and how hard I was going to work for you. I had the most speakers. I had the most lighting. I had the most everything needed to succeed, including the most tidy-whities at a wedding dance. that's actually a video stretch screen that I could play music videos on, but let's face it, this thing was not doing me any favors whatsoever. But ultimately, I hustled hard. I would respond to every single Facebook post looking for a DJ recommendation. I would put myself out in hundreds of online directories, and I would talk constantly about my DJ services, i.e. the awareness phase. I talked a lot. But when people found me and they saw this, and they saw this, how do you think they actually felt? This didn't inspire trust or curiosity. And it came to realize over time that I had a branding issue, and not just in my fonts and colors, but how I presented myself at events with messy wires, messy cables, things not tucked away nice and clean. This presentation is branding. Luckily, in about 2011, I had a college professor who took pity on me, and she made me my very first logo. Boom, DAC Music Productions. I was officially official. I had fonts, I had colors. I officially had a brand. And if I could go back and just slap the silly out of 20-year-old Dryson, I absolutely would, because I did not understand, did not realize that branding isn't fonts and colors and a logo. Branding is the promise that people feel when they find your company, i.e. the attraction phase. If awareness is putting yourself out in the world, that would be marketing. But attraction, that branding, that is what maybe people feel what it's like to work with you as a business. I thought at the time frame that my problem was I needed more social proof, more social reviews. And so I got them. And I'm excited to say that almost exclusively through the entire time frame of running DAC Music Productions, I received almost nothing but 5-star reviews. But I want to point something out here. These reviews are pretty generic. Do it. They do a good job and you'll be happy with the results. Great guy, played whatever the bride wanted. Very professional and understanding. I didn't realize it at the time because I was blindsided by 5-star reviews. That's going to be awesome. But what I really see looking back on this is people weren't inspired or excited or blown away. I didn't make them feel amazing. And let's be honest, I was a $300 per night DJ. And unless I catastrophically made a failure, screwed something up beyond repair, no one was going to complain about the $300 DJ that they hired to play some music in the background. Why? Because no one wants to say, I had a mediocre wedding experience. People aren't going to complain. But about this time frame, I met a really, really pretty girl who just happened to be a photographer, and this is actually the story of how I met my bride. We started working together to offer people the option of DJ and photography as a joint package. And this was the beginning of a very, very good idea, but it took a long time to figure out the execution, the branding, the promise, the awareness, all of it. And I want to talk about something real quick here because I have a picture. This is from 2015. This was one of our very first bridal shows that we did together. And at this point, I was in the DJ world for about 7 years. And as you can see, I'm still in the mindset of it's all about the equipment. Now, no one worked harder than we did. We set up a custom booth. We put trim board up. We hung pictures so you could visualize what our artwork would look like in your home. But 2 businesses in one booth is super confusing. We've got pictures here which look nice, and then random DJ lights, random speakers that aren't doing anything for everyone. This is all about the equipment, and it didn't inspire curiosity. It didn't spark joy or anything in people's minds. It simply said, oh yeah, those guys, I guess, do things. That's it. But again, I will say that no one worked harder than what we did. But as time came on, we finally realized that we needed to simplify our servicing to make things a lot more understandable, a lot less confusing, and just a better experience for our couples. And so we rebranded to 3-chord weddings. First and foremost, we identified our niche. The days of Dryson doing proms and backyard parties were gone. We focused specifically on the weddings, and we focused on specifically the quality of our weddings, not the quantity of events. We had one simple goal: to make the wedding planning process super stress-free and simple. But as you can see here, I still did not quite understand branding, And I thought, black and white is luxury, so that's why we went this way. And of course, I DIY'd this logo, which, looking back, I did not understand design either. But what I started to understand was emotion, and I started getting really good at it. Now, if you're not familiar, there's something I want you to Google. It's called the hero's journey. And the 12 steps of the hero's journey has been around for thousands of years. In fact, many Hollywood blockbuster movies still follow the same formula, where a hero is called to action but does not want to go until something forces him to take that step. And along the way, he meets a mentor and he goes through his entire journey. You see, at DAC Music Productions, I wanted to be Luke Skywalker. I wanted to be the hero of the story. The story revolved around me, and it was everything about how good I was and how much I could help other people. But when we started 3-chord weddings, something really interesting happened. We became the mentor. We started to identify moments of frustration, things that would just kill the energy at an event. And because the DJ side was my baby, my wife ran the photography department, I want to speak specifically on what I did and my experiences as a DJ. So we started to identify moments of frustration. And these were little things, like if we were getting ready to cut the cake, I would walk over and just make sure that the knife was there. There was napkins and plates. Because there's nothing more awkward than saying, hey everyone, attention over here, we're going to cut the cake now. And then spend 5 minutes looking for the equipment. Or better yet, during the grand entrance, we would have everyone on their feet, excited, hyped up, and we'd introduce the bride and groom as they make their first time entering the new venue as a married couple. They'd make their way to the head table, and then confusion. Typically, a DJ would hop on the mic and say, hey everyone, we're going to have food now, thanks for coming. But we started to offer suggestions. Where if we didn't do the first dance before dinner to keep the attention on the bride and groom, we'd simply put a microphone at the head table and say, hey, when you get up there, there'll be a second mic. Just introduce yourself real quick and say, hey, everyone, thanks for coming. We so appreciate it. And we're going to have food now. That little transition took the energy off of the DJ and kept the energy of the entire room focused on the heroes of the story, the bride and groom. We started to set up emotionally charged moments. Things like this, where we take the very first dance the bride and groom have at the beginning of the night, and we play it a second time at the very end. But this time, we would invite all the friends and family to come surround the bride and groom, and we'd send them off into their new life together, surrounded by the ones that are going to be there to love them and support them on their new life journey. And then additionally, we changed the way that we started presenting ourselves. We started thinking about what was more important, having pretty lights on the dance floor during formal events and having lasers and dots and everything else, or was it more important to focus on the kind of quality we were delivering to our clients? Pretty pictures like this don't happen accidentally. This is an intense collaboration behind the scenes working with the DJ and photographer. And the reason we started thinking about this was because we asked ourselves, what's more important? Having a cool shot of somebody on the dance floor that's going to live on somebody's Facebook feed, or having beautiful works of art that people can hang on their walls in their homes forever. We started focusing less on what we could do to make ourselves look good, and we started focusing on how we could make other people feel. And something magical happened. Now, before I get into that, I do want to say that doing good work is the bare minimum. Not only do your customers have to love what you can do and see what you can do, but they have to understand it and get it and feel it immediately when interacting with your brand. And that's the power of having high quality content like this or like this to demonstrate what your services do and build trust. Because this doesn't build trust, but this does inspire. This is what I would call your emotional hook point, where you can see an image, a visual, and you're immediately solidifying yourself as an expert. And that's what the customer journey is all about. This is what branding does. So I want to recap real quick. At 3-chord photography, 3-chord weddings, we found our unique selling point. We were able to save bride and groom's time, stress, and energy because the DJ and photographer worked together behind the scenes. Like, for example, if the bride and groom were getting ready to give their thank you speeches after dinner, I would simply go up and clear the dirty dishes away So that way there weren't dirty dishes in the best man speech, the maid of honor speech, of course, the bride and groom's thank you speech as well. We stopped focusing on making ourselves look good, and we started focusing on how we can make other people feel. We focused on the emotion, the transitions, and eliminating moments of frustration. I stopped trying to be the hero, and we became the guide. And when we did that, our reviews went from this to this. In fact, one bride wrote, "When my husband and I found out about 3-chord weddings, we changed our wedding date just so we could work with them." Now, if that's not a review that inspires curiosity and sparks trust, I don't know what is. But because we made people feel special, people wanted to rave about the good work we did for them. They would love to tell their friends, their family, and having those strong advocates of our brand made the awareness and the attraction phase super, super easy, because now we had an army of people working for us on our behalf. And that is the power of the advocate phase. Our branding shifted, our mentality shifted, and people felt that promise of working with us. So real quick, I want to compare and contrast the customer journey and just look back at what we did at 3-chord weddings versus DAC Music Productions. At DAC Music Productions, I was on the awareness phase very hard. I hustled hard. I would comment on every single Facebook post, put myself out there in every online directory. And while I still did that at 3-chord weddings, now I had an army of people working for us, people raving about us. And our photography hung in people's homes. So when somebody would stop by and say, "Oh my God, it's an amazing photo. Who is your DJ? Who is your photographer?" They loved to tell that story and how we made them feel. Next, DAC Music Productions, the attraction phase. People found me and liked me because of my price and the fact that my 5 stars meant that I was hardworking and reliable. But at 3-chord, there was an emotional promise through photography, through smiling faces, and we started to include personalized touch points that made a powerful impact on the way people felt. For example, we used an app called Bonjoro. I am not sponsored by this, I'm not paid for them, I'm just a big believer in their product, where we would have a contact form embedded on our website, and when people filled out the contact form, I would get a notification on my phone, and I could record a quick message to them. I'd say, "Hey Katie, I'm looking forward to September 8th. Yes, we do have your day available, and I would love to invite you and your fiance to come down, share your ideas, tell us what you would like to see at your wedding, and maybe we can come up with some cool ideas together. Can't wait to talk." Little personalized touch points like that made a big difference, because now we're speaking one-on-one with the bride or with the groom. And of course, our powerful reviews sold us before people even met with us. Next, the action phase. At DAC Music Productions, it was simply hire me, hire me. Whereas 3-chord, we invited people to share their ideas, to brainstorm with us. We asked them to follow us on social where they could get ideas for their own wedding. And of course, we would share teasers from their event to build hype and excitement to keep them coming back and engaging with our content. The advocate phase. At DAC Music Productions, I would pester people for the reviews. In fact, I'm not proud of this, but at one point I sent this message out on someone's public personal Facebook page saying, "Hey, had a blast playing at your wedding, and the pictures on Facebook are amazing. Anyway, I'm writing to ask if you'd be willing to post a review on DAC Music Facebook's page under the review tab. Only takes a second and helps me out immensely." Now, I sent this a few days after that bride's wedding, and she was on her honeymoon. Do we really think she cared about the $300 DJ that she paid for background noise? No, don't do that. Don't be like Dryson. Whereas in a contrast, 3-chord weddings, people wanted to brag about how amazing their experience was. People wanted to share their stories. People became raving advocates of our brand. The results. 3-chord weddings, we became an average sale per event of about $5,800. We did on average about 25 events per year, and we focused on quality, not quantity, which means that I went from making about $5,000 per year to $150,000 per year on a seasonal job. Couples were sold before they met with us because of our branding, because of our social proof, because of the way we made people feel. But there was a problem. There is a fantastic book by a gentleman named Gino Wickman called Traction. And in that book, there's a parable that I want to share. And it starts off by saying an entrepreneur is walking alongside the road and accidentally falls off a cliff 2,000 feet to his doom. About halfway down, he reaches his hand out and he grabs onto a branch, saving his life. But as he assesses his situation, he looks up and realizes that he is 1,000 feet from the top and 1,000 feet from the bottom. Either way, certain doom. He's stuck. With nothing left to lose, he looks up to the heavens and shouts out, "Is anyone up there?" Miraculously, thunder rolls in, the clouds build, and a heavenly voice booms from above saying, "My son, do you trust me?" "Yeah." The voice responds, "Then let go." As the entrepreneur hangs there for dear life, he looks up again, 1,000 feet to the top, 1,000 feet below. And as he clings there, he looks back to the heavens and says, "Is there anyone else up there?" As entrepreneurs, we have a very hard time letting go of control and trusting other people. And this was 100% my problem and why 3-Chord Weddings could never grow to the company that it had the potential to be. 3-Chord Weddings also had some flaws. For example, it was a seasonal business because of the South Dakota winters. On average, the wedding season in South Dakota runs from about April to November on average, which meant that we had about 30 time slots that we could fill. And the problem was that I became a slave to the company. I worked a full-time job during the week, so my evenings were spent meeting with couples, building the business, and the weekends are spent working the events. I really feel like I missed my 20s. I missed family events, friend events. In fact, I almost missed the birth of my daughter because I was that dedicated to serving our couples. No one worked harder than me, but hard work doesn't mean success. Being gone every single weekend as we grew our family became a lot as well. And asking my mom or my grandparents to watch my kids just became too much to ask. So I had 3 options. I could stay the same, but I was tired, I wasn't happy, and I was burned out. I could scale up, but I had a flaw inside. I was afraid that customers might miss an event, or there'd be a problem where they couldn't get there in time. Maybe a technical issue popped up and they wouldn't be able to diagnose it. I was worried that no one would care as much as I did as the owner. And why should it? Why should they? If I would have hired employees, it wouldn't be their business. They should not be as passionate as I am, and I shouldn't expect them to be. But the idea of running multiple rigs, the stress that came along with it and the risks that were associated with that was too much stress for live events that I couldn't let go. So I took my 3rd option. I quit. This is the time frame that I realized that whatever my next business venture would be, I had to make sure that I could let go and trust other people. And knowing that my flaws came from live events, I had to pivot away from that. I knew that I didn't need more versions of me who were just as passionate or just as knowledgeable. No, I needed people who were better than me, more passionate about the things that I was weak in. And this is where the idea for starting my own animation studio first started. I had a knack for identifying moments of frustration. I was an expert in emotion. And I worked full-time as a video editor this entire time frame. But I was not a great designer. I was a strong animator, but my design skills definitely needed work. And I was inspired by the quote, "To go fast, go alone, but to go far, go together." So it's about this time frame that I started looking for that elusive unicorn, that perfect partner who complemented all my strengths and was just as passionate about the things that I was passionate about. And this is when I found my partner, Courtney Haberl. And together, last January 2023, we started Hyperfocus Motion, a design and animation studio. So what is Hyperfocus Motion? We are a motion studio that creates marketing content. We fix moments of frustration in branding. And it's important to share that we are not a marketing agency. We are a stress-free, content-creating partner with a get-shit-done attitude. We tell emotional stories that elevates brands. We come along into your company and we work alongside the marketing department to create the content that excites customers and builds a strong brand experience. We create videos that explain services, share a mission, hype a hook point. We spark curiosity and connect your business with your customers. That is what we do. Our common requests often look like this: explainer videos, commercials, social media ads, conference videos, trade show videos, illustration, logo work, social media content. But we are Hyperfocus Motion. I don't want this to be a sales pitch because that's not the point here today, but just know that we exist. But I do want to talk a little bit more about some of the resources we talked about here today. For example, 12 Steps of the Hero's Journey. It is definitely worth Googling and just learning a little bit more about it. The Bonjoro app is that app that we use to send personalized message to leads. Traction by Gino Wickman is an incredible book that absolutely opened my eyes to what I was missing within my business practices. Hook Point by Brennan Kane, which has been immensely helpful for trying to understand how to stand out in the 3-second world and just tell people what we do and how we do it quickly and effectively. And of course, we do have a free download if you're curious about how to use video inside of the customer journey. You can download 22 ideas for using video to enhance your customer journey for your brand at hyperfocusmotion.com. Now, one more thing I want to touch on before I let everyone go is just because you're creating this content doesn't mean it's going to work automatically. You need to be thoughtful in how your content interacts with each other, where you're sending people, how you're funneling people through interacting with your brand and what they're going to find when they get there. For example, if you put a link about a product on your website, if you put a link to a product on your social channels or in a blog feed, don't just put a link to your homepage. Put that link specifically to that product landing page so people know, hey, I click here, and you're eliminating that moment of frustration of having to go find it. Having foresight like that and thought like that makes a world of difference when building your customer journey. So once again, my name is Dryson Karsten. This was the first 100K. Stop struggling and start growing your business. If you have any questions about design, animation, and how motion graphics is really the most powerful storytelling tool we have for building strong brands, feel free to reach out to me at Dryson@wearehyperfocused.com or our general inbox, hello@wearehyperfocused.com. Once again, my name is Dryson Karsten. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you found value in this. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.